Brad's not here this morning, so I'll try this out, see if it works. Good morning. There we go. I'll take it. I won't make us do it twice like Brad always does. We had the privilege, as most of you guys know by now, to go to Chicago. It would have been 2 weeks ago, from the 13th to the 20th. Had a blast, and we want to just expose you guys to what we learned, and hopefully we can all grow through the experience we had, not only as a youth group, but also as a congregation. So we're going to be coming up kind of in various phases. We're all wearing these green shirts and kind of covering the different aspects of what we got to learn and go through while we were in Chicago and how it impacted us. So we're going to start with, save the worst for first, is that it? We're going to start with Russ and Taylor Redding. So Russ Thomas and Taylor Redding, if you guys want to come on up and talk a little bit about a few things. I'll pass the mic over to you guys.
Thanks for the kind introduction. Jared had a verse that he wanted us for the theme for the week. He asked me to memorize it, so I did, and it is... I'm just kidding, I didn't memorize it. It's Galatians 6:9. It says, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for at the proper time we will reap harvest if we do not give up." And the one thing I wanted to say about this verse and how it pertains to the youth is that I was really encouraged by during the week is that the youth did not give up. And I don't even think you guys really got weary until Friday. So I was encouraged by the work that they did. I was encouraged by seeing youth do things that they were not asked to do. They just stepped up. Some of them even on the projects that other youth were assigned to, others even came in and helped out. And so I was really proud of them. I think they just did an excellent job. It was really neat to see that whole time. So.
One of the cool things about the DOOR program was they would send us out during the day to do service, and then at night they would bring in like a speaker or just someone to just challenge us. And especially Tuesday night, a lady by the name of Brenda came in, and she was a sweet lady. She was also a very passionate lady. It was clear she was passionate about Chicago, and she was passionate about service. And that night was pretty special for us as a group, just to take in what she was telling us and really just challenge us in what we see in our week in Chicago and how we're doing service. And so it was cool to reflect the rest of the week and hear members of our group continue to talk about, Tuesday night, Brenda said this, or Brenda told us this. And so that was one really cool thing that I think a lot of members of our group took from the night that Brenda came and talked to us.
Little Chris, okay. So, do you have a picture?
Yeah, we do. Back. There we go.
So up here in your left, in that left-hand corner, that was the DOOR staff that was up there. One of the members that has the Kansas City shirt, that is JD. Some of you may recognize him. He actually is from Hesston. And we worked with all these guys. The other guy, Tyler, that says in the black shirt over here, he's actually from Kansas too. He attends Wichita State. And then you're going to have to help me with some of these names because I didn't work with everybody. But Big Chris is in the red shirt. Little Chris is in the I stand on the right. That's Little Chris. And then... Okay. Great group. But one person in particular I did want to point out is, you see the gentleman in the red shirt, and then next to him is who we called Little Chris. And he was just fantastic. I worked with him a lot that week, but one thing that he did, to me, he kind of went above and beyond the call. We, to just do the transit in Chicago with the subway and the bus system, it's fairly simple, but we also did not want to get lost, and so we grabbed Chris and took him along, and he was very willing, and he showed us a lot of stuff. He was just great to be around, and he really showed us a lot about Chicago, and we never got lost with him. So, but they really were. They were all great staff, and it was really good working with them. They were very knowledgeable about the city and the projects and everything that we were working with. So.
One other cool part about Door, well, depends on who you ask if it's cool or not, but they bring in big groups every week. So it was us, a group from Canada, and a group from Detroit to make a grand total of 60 plus people living in a church and a total of 4 showers. So that was interesting, but it was also really cool to see how to some that could be a hurdle, but for the kids and everyone, it's just you make do, and somehow everyone got hot water and everyone got a shower. So that was cool. Literally sleeping bags from wall to wall, and sometimes you're sleeping next to someone you probably don't even know their name or you don't know anything about them, but it was just cool to see how God could break down all those barriers because we were all there for the same reason, and God was going to use each and every one of us that was there. Another interesting fact about the church that we stayed in was that in the mid-'60s, when Martin Luther King moved his family to Chicago, it was one of only 2 churches in the whole city of Chicago that offered him a space to work. Because there's many people that, thought, yeah, he's a good guy, he's doing good things, but because there's so much violence surrounding it and threats that not everyone was willing to say, hey, come work in our church and we'll take bomb threats and death threats. But anyways, this church did. So as you can see, there's a picture of him on the wall, and then there's this beautiful stained glass, and down in the corner is his face. That's kind of hard to see, but it was pretty cool. And it was just cool to know that the history of the church included one of the most influential members of America. And a little side story, one afternoon, Jared was kind of off planning out our next day and everything, and he was in the space that Martin Luther King used to work in, so his old office. So I come around the corner, and we kind of got talking about the day, and then about an hour later, we both woke up, and we're like, oh, we took a pretty good nap. And so we were both excited because we can say now that we took a nap in Martin Luther King's old office.
Nice. There also may be a rumor that I got my own room while we were there in Chicago. That's just a rumor. I wouldn't believe that. No, it was nice. So, the team consisted of four groups, and we don't have all 4 up there.
Yeah, they're all there.
Okay, but each group went on their own project each morning. Sometimes we worked with other groups. There was 2 other ones that were there. They'll be talking about that. One was from Detroit, and another group was from Canada. And you'll hear more about the projects and what we did then. But these are the groups that broke up into the 4, and the pictures of them. And everybody experienced different type of projects and where they went. So it was a really neat thing. Yeah, I'll talk about the picture. Okay, so on certain nights after the day, we would have what was called paper plate awards, and they were what they sound like. You take a paper plate, you put an award on there, or you put something on there, and then you hand that to somebody. An example might be, like Chris, I'll give Chris an example. Chris, on the morning, another group had cleanup. And so this group was doing cleanup. Well, Chris went and helped with the cleanup. It wasn't even part of his job. And so he went and helped with that cleanup, which I was really impressed with. But later on that night when we were doing the paper plate awards, someone had given him a paper plate award for just kind of the outstanding helper or whatever that day. So that's kind of an idea of how we did the paper plate awards. I think that what was really neat about it is that they were so encouraging. Like sometimes when you do stuff, you want to be noticed, even though we were doing this for the Lord. But yet it is nice at the end of the day to have your peers come and bring you something and say, hey, nice job. Some of them were pretty funny too. Very funny, I should note. But it was a good time. It was a really good way to share at the end of the night and be encouragement. So.
All right, we are going to move from Russ and Taylor on to the projects, which is, I believe, Sally Burkholder. No? Carson Burkholder, Chris Horn, and Kendra Fuquay. Great. You guys can come on up, talk about the projects we did.
In Chicago, we worked on a lot of projects, a lot of different work sites. And one of the projects that really stuck out to me was called the Gaia Movement. Basically what they did was they took all the stuff that the recycling companies don't recycle, and they recycle it, break it down, a lot of kids' toys and all that good stuff. And yeah, Carson's going to tell you a little bit about that.
So when we got to the Gaia Movement, the leader's name was Alex, and he told us a little bit about what he does and all the things he recycles. He tries to recycle everything that he can, and there was a lot of stuff that we could recycle, like computers and toys and like a whole bunch of different stuff, and it was pretty cool to do that. And there's the mattress.
Okay. Morgan Easted, we had a great time recycling a mattress, which is a lot harder than it sounds, actually. And yeah, that was cool. And there was this guy named Fred that worked out there. He's an African-American gentleman, and he had a garden out back with all kinds of stuff right in the middle of the city. It was pretty awesome. And like corn and potatoes and all that fresh produce. It was pretty awesome.
There was also a lot of clothes donations at Gaia Movement. People from around the city would bring in clothes that didn't fit or they didn't like anymore, and they would package them in big, huge containers, I guess you could call them, and then ship them all over the world for people who actually needed them. So I thought that was another really cool part of Gaia Movement.
Another project we went to was Cornerstone, and there was there's two different little things we could do. One was painting in this room, and another was feeding homeless people there. And this lady, when we got there, she told us she told us a little bit what it was like to be homeless, and it was pretty cool meeting her. And there's a lot of different things that was cool about her. What else? UCR. When we got to, there's another project called UCRP and VBS, and we got to help out with VBS. And there was about 30 kids there. It was at a church, and there's different, I guess, like not really activities. There was painting and like playing games, and then at the end there was like this little final, I guess, Bible study sort of thing, and we got to sing songs and read a verse or two, and that was really fun there. So.
Also at UCRP, the day that my group went, you can see us in the bottom left corner. We went on the day that they went to Lake Michigan. We went and swam with them. Each of us got to have a buddy. And it was a great experience to get to know the kids and to get to play with them in the water and then go eat lunch with them.
My group also went to UCRP, and we did not hang out with the kids, though. We went down into the basement and hung out with Mama Selena, is the name we gave her, and we made bracelets for these women in need, and they sell them at the fairs and stuff, and it was pretty cool. There's a really good story behind all of it, and yeah, they just make them and sell them and all that. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think that's all we got.
All right. Thank you, guys. Next up, we're going to talk about some travel. Sally Burkholder, Sam Blosser, and Austin Klein are going to come up and break down the travel for the week.
Throughout the week, we had to travel through pretty much public transportation the whole way. Once we got there, we pretty much parked the vans and never used them again. I personally think that we liked the L a lot better than the bus, just because, we thought it was less crowded and less bumpy, but the L was also, it was really singular interaction. everyone had headphones in or a tablet, and that's pretty much all you did was look down until you got to your spot. And the bus, there was a little bit more interaction, but it was still really, really limited.
Like Sam was saying, most of the people, you couldn't really go talk to them because they either had headphones or they were listening to something. So like when 28 people get on a bus, they thought it was kind of weird because most people get there and they're just on their own. And so those are a couple of pictures of, we crowded a bus stop and then our bus that we were on after, I think it was Navy Pier. And that was a really crazy day.
On our way, we left on a Saturday morning and we took the vans and drove all the way to Iowa, where we picked up 2 more young ladies who helped us all week long, Carly and Emma. They have been in the past Hesston College students, and I believe Emma has 1 more year left, and obviously they're not here with us this morning, but they were a great addition to our team. And I know our girls really got to know them and got to work together on different projects with them. So we picked them up there in Iowa and spent the night at a place called Crooked Creek Christian Camp, which is rather large, but we got there, kind of later that evening, so we didn't really see a lot of it. But that evening we had a bonfire together as a group. And Allison and I, who was also not with us this morning, had some questions that Jared had come up with that we could ask of the group, kind of preparing and planning for the week. And so it just really gave us a chance to think about what we were looking forward to, what we were worried about, what we were excited about, just kind of our fears and just different things like that. And it's always pretty special around a bonfire. There's always that element of, okay, it's dark out and I'm available to really share what I'm feeling. And so we did that together that evening and had some s'mores. Spent a really great night in a retreat center. It was a perfect first evening off on our way. And then that morning, Sunday morning, we had our own little church service. So one of Carly's friends came out and played the guitar for us, and we sang some songs together. And also, Jared had prepared a short devotional for us as well that just, again, got us thinking about what really we were doing that coming week, what we were just kind of preparing our hearts and our minds, because later on that day we would pull into Chicago, and that would be, kind of our opportunity as a group to just really focus and get on the same page and have that opportunity to prepare before we actually got there. So that was somewhat of our travel there. And on the way back, it was a little quicker. We left at 6:30 and got home at 7 o'clock that night. And I stayed awake all day long to keep Russ awake, who drove almost the whole way in my van. So that was our traveling.
Thank you, guys. Next up, we are going to hear about the city of Chicago, Brianna Kane, Morgan Eastep. And is that it? All right.
We stayed in East Garfield Park, and it had 20,000 people in this neighborhood and over 2 square miles. And the neighborhood was about 90% African American. And Brianna's going to talk about the neighborhoods.
Oh, there are 77 neighborhoods in Chicago, and it ranges from everything. There's an African American neighborhood, a Hispanic neighborhood, there's a Chinatown. They have everything you could ever want in Chicago. And within the square block of where we stayed at East Garfield Park, there were 99 churches, which surprised us because we did not think there was that many, but it was a lot.
Oh, wait, you're talking about
Okay. Well, as you can see on the board, Kansas is a lot smaller than Chicago. Chicago has the same population as the whole state of Kansas, and it's only part of Illinois. And so that just really was a big shocker to us because it was huge.
One evening when we went out on the city, we got to go to the Navy Pier, and we watched a fireworks show that they do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night, I believe. We also went to the Sky Deck, and it was the Willis Tower, and it has, we went up to the 103rd floor and got to look down on Chicago. So.
And then on Friday, we had our free day, and so we went to Shedd Aquarium, which is all the jellyfish and fish. And then after that, we went to the Field Museum, which has like the largest put-together dinosaur, I think, in America, T-Rex head in America or something like that. It was really cool. And there's like all these different exhibits you could go through, like an African exhibit and like an old exhibit.
Is that all you got? All right. Thank you, ladies. And we also have the meals we had throughout the week and everything that went along with that. So Isaac and I, Travis Hirschberger, and Cassidy Burkholder are going to talk on that.
Yeah, so we ate in Chicago. No, we actually had a really good time eating there. We had to pack sack lunches every morning at like 7 a.m., so you really didn't know what you were eating for lunch unless you're a morning person. No, we got PB&J or ham and cheese or something, and got like some chips and some fruit and animal crackers, and that's what you would have for lunch. We also went out and ate some deep dish pizza one night. That was sponsored by, well, paid for by the G51, which is in honor of Garrett Spencer, who used to go to high school here. But yeah, that was some good pizza. We have a reigning deep dish champion, Chris Horn. He ate 4 slices of deep dish pizza, which is quite an accomplishment. I only ate 2. But yeah, me and Travis had some fun eating pizza there. We also we went to Chinatown one day with this guy named, well, Chris mentioned him earlier. I mean, Russ mentioned him earlier. His name is Little Chris. He took us to Chinatown, and there was this place called the Joy Yi Noodle, and they had some pretty awesome smoothies. I got strawberry banana. It was probably one of the best ones, just saying.
Okay, and one night we had a $1 meal, and they gave us each $1 to eat, and I'm a hungry person, so, as you can see, and so I wasn't too excited for that, but I was in Russ's group, and we decided we were really hungry, so we were going to do whatever it is to get food, but other groups didn't like us because we ended up with the most food, so... Yeah, we had the girls ask for food, so I'll let Cassie talk about that.
I was also in that group, and we went in and we decided that we were going to go to different restaurants and ask them for food. And it was probably one of the most nerve-wracking things I've ever done in my whole life because, like, coming from a small town, you know everybody and you know who owns the businesses and stuff. But we were in Chicago, and there's a lot of people there. And so we had to go in and ask the manager or owner for a free handout of food. And it was, yeah, it was crazy. We ended up getting a lot of food. Our meal was that one right there. So we got like chicken and different ribs, or not ribs, but chicken wings or something. Tenders. Yeah. So it was probably one of the best meals I ate all week. Sorry, guys. But yeah, it was worth it. And it was a really good experience. But it was also hard to know that we were getting this food, and it would be really hard for a homeless person to go into a restaurant and just ask for a free handout. I'm sure there are some restaurants that would do that, but it was just really hard to come out of those restaurants and know that there were still homeless people without a meal for that night, that evening.
Thanks, guys. Well, I hope that kind of summed up some of the things that we did in Chicago while we were there. I just have a few kind of final thoughts to kind of wrap up the week. This group, all wearing green T-shirts, was amazing. They did a great job. The kids talked a lot about throughout the week being out of their comfort zone, and rightfully so. You know, we're from Hesston, America, with 4,000 people, and Chicago is, you know, millions. And so these kids did great, experiencing the new cultures and seeing a lot of things they'd probably never seen before. And it was just cool to see the group as they responded to say, you know, hey, I've never seen this, or, you know, I've never done this. And it was cool to see how they responded to that. And Dor did a great job of exposing us to various parts of the cities. And it was just fun to see the different things in Chicago, the good, the bad, and just everything that is a part of the city of Chicago. And I was talking when we were kind of planning the service this morning, we talked about how 98% of the people we interacted with in Chicago were genuine, real, and friendly to us. You know, when you think of going to a big city like that, you think, well, you know, those people are mean or they don't want to talk to anyone. And we encountered numerous people who, whether at the projects or traveling, that were nice. They'd help us out. They'd tell us where to go or reach out to us. And I just was really impacted by that. And so I just also want to thank you guys for the support you guys gave us through prayer and financial support as well. You guys don't know how much all the prayer you guys were given throughout that week helped us as we went throughout the city. God He took care of all the details for us, and we were really blessed to just have everything fall into place. And I can't take any credit for that. I think I got to give it to you guys for all the prayers you guys were sending up for us. I want to mention Russ and all the other leaders. Russ, Sally, Taylor Redding, Allison, Emma, and Carly. They were our leaders for the week. I get a lot of credit for this trip, and I don't think I deserve it because they were doing a lot of the hands-on work with the kids, and it just made me look good. So they were amazing. The leaders were, and they did a great job connecting with the kids, and we just had a fun week all together. And I can't thank them enough. And specifically Russ, his youth pastor experience helped in going to the mission trip to kind of know how things go and what to kind of be ready for. And so Russ was a huge help to me as I tried to kind of learn and grow and figure out all that out as we went. I do want to focus on one verse today, a passage. If you guys want to turn with me to Mark 10, I do want to close with this. On our last day, my group got the opportunity to go to a place called Ada Niles. And as we went to Ada Niles, it is a retirement home, kind of like an elderly adult daycare center that helps people that have mental disabilities. So all the people that were at this elderly daycare had either some type of Alzheimer's or maybe dementia or some kind of effect where they weren't all there mentally. And so I didn't really know what to expect going in. I didn't know how the interactions were going to be with the elderly, but we would sit around this circle, as you can see on that picture, and sit within the elderly and do various activities. It wasn't a lot of moving, but we tried to do some things that kept the attention of the elderly. And then halfway through the morning, we got the opportunity to do a devotional with them, and we used this passage. And as we were going through the passage, I was thinking about some different things, and I was wondering, how much of this devotional are they getting out of it? And what was interesting was afterwards, he opened up and said, does anyone have something that they've learned from this passage? And the responses from these elderly were just amazing. They're not completely there mentally, but they were connecting with the Scripture and really just getting a lot out of it. And so that really just showed me that even at their age, they're still looking to grow, looking to respond to Scripture, and it was cool to see that. So I'm just going to read this for us. Mark 10, 35 to 45. Then James and John, the sons of Zebedee, came to him. Teacher, they said, we want you to do for us whatever we ask. What do you want me to do for you? He said. They replied, let one of us sit at your right and the other at your left in your glory. You don't know what you are asking, Jesus said. Can you drink the cup I drink or be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with? We can, they answered. Jesus said to them, you will drink the cup I drink and be baptized with the baptism I am baptized with. But to sit at my right or left is not for me to grant. These places belong to those for whom they have been prepared. When the 10 heard about this, they became indignant with James and John. Jesus called them together and said, you know that those who are regarded as rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their high officials exercise authority over them. Not so with you. Instead, whoever wants to become great among you must be your servant, and whoever wants to be first must be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom for many. I find this passage really interesting. For me, there's kind of three roles in this story. The first role is James and John. They came to Jesus, wanted to sit at his right and his left hand. They wanted this status. They wanted the benefit that they got for serving with Jesus, and so they want to be recognized for that. Along with that, we got the other 10 disciples who, it only spends one verse on it, but it says they were indignant with James and John when they heard what they had done. And so when I think of the 10 other disciples and how they responded to what James and John had asked, I don't think they were mad at James and John for what they asked Jesus. I think they were mad at James and John because they weren't the ones that had asked Jesus. I think they were also sitting there thinking, man, it'd be nice to get recognized for all this work we've done. And so I think the 10 other disciples just got beat to it by James and John. And then I just really enjoy how Jesus responds. You know, these guys are talking about status. They've been with Jesus for a number of moments by now, and yet they're still focused on how do I benefit from this. And Jesus is saying, you know, I didn't come to benefit and be recognized. I came to serve. And I think that's something that we can easily forget, and we can easily misread and misinterpret when we go through the different things we're doing in our life. And so I want to leave you with one last story here. Every day we would have to get on the L train, and we had these passes. They're 7-day passes. And so at the beginning of the week, I had to buy 20-some 7-day passes. And it's not the cheapest thing. A little pricey, but not too bad. So as I know youth and you know, have had some experiences, they don't always keep track of their passes all the time. So I gave them all to the leaders, and I said, you guys need to hand out these passes every day and, you know, make sure we keep track of them because we need them all 7 days to get around Chicago. And so every day, every morning, when we get on the trains, I would hand my group their passes, and I would say, you got one job, you got one job, you got one job. And I kept saying that to them. And I said, I'm telling you guys this because if and when you lose your pass, I get to be like, come on, you had one job. So they were kind of giving me some grief for not letting them hold on their passes. And luckily they did well, you know, keeping track of the passes, and we didn't lose any passes. But I think the idea behind having one job is what Jesus is trying to tell us in this story. We have one job, and that's to serve others. And I have a quote from a guy that I really look up to. He's a pastor in Seattle, and what he says about service and being a servant and our one job of serving others. A man by the name of Judah Smith says, a servant is someone who is secure in their relationship with God, that he will grant them whatever is right. What could be accomplished through a community of people who are secured to him? Their relationship is to him. They're just content with whatever is right, and as a result, they're given to servanthood. They walk into rooms not thinking, where do I rank? But they're walking into rooms thinking, who can I serve? And I think that is just a real application that we can all take from this. You know, only 20 or so of us went to Chicago, but all of us get the opportunity to serve in our daily lives. And we don't need to walk into rooms thinking, you know, well, I serve more than that guy, or, you know, I should probably get recognized. I've been doing this a while. That's not what God calls us to. He calls us to be a servant and to serve him and serve others. And so this was the final phrase in that devotional. And it says, great occasions for serving God come seldom, but little ones surround us daily. So, you know, we don't get the opportunity to go to Chicago every week of the year, but every day, I guarantee all of us this week are going to have the opportunity to serve in some way. And so that's my challenge to you guys this morning. Serve in the little ways as well as the big ways too that God provides. So let's pray for this morning's service. God, I thank you so much for just this cool weather you've blessed us with today and just throughout the end of this week. And I also just thank you for the opportunity we got to go to Chicago and just be blessed by so many experiences and great people we met, and to just experience the city. I just thank you for our safety and just protecting us and being with us and taking care of every detail. And I just pray for all the youth that went. I pray that they will continue to remember their experiences and just be changed by them and apply them to their lives here in Hesston. And I also just pray for all of us as we go from here this week. We're all going to have opportunities to serve you in these little ways and take little things and opportunities to just put ourselves behind others and put you ahead of ourselves as well, and just serve you through all different various things. And I just, again, thank you for the trip we were able to go on and just the blessed time we had. And I just thank you so much for the opportunities we continually get to serve you in various ways. And I pray that we will continue to take advantage of those. In all this we pray, amen.
Thank you, Jared, and the youth group for sharing your stories from Chicago with us. And I think I will definitely be challenged by your final thought of who will I serve this week. And I hope all of you will be challenged with that same thought. Who will you serve this week? We have a prayer team coming up, and if you have prayer requests or praises that you want to share and have someone to pray with you, please take the opportunity to do this.